All right, I'm gonna start the video.
Yep. All right, put it in the thing. Start it. Let's go.
How can show the video? Wait a minute. Why did it say live video? I'm sorry. Okay, you gotta get rid of that keypad, top right. Get rid of that. And then, does it say live video? Or is it not letting me do live video because it's just got that connection in there?
I have no idea what.
Why would it let you do
I
live
don't
video?
know. I don't know.
But it won't, will
There,
it?
now it did. You must have hit the wrong
I must
thing.
have. Go ahead and do it and give it to me.
I didn't type anything. We'll just go.
You ready?
On?
Yes. Can I play radio? Are you nailing it?
No, but. Chaos in Washington, D.C. A lot to unpack this morning. We'll get to it right around the corner.
The Wade Carter Show. My mic was on. All responsibility for all.
Before we do this, let's go over the ground rules. Rule number 1, no touching of the hair or face. Of course. That's it. Now let's do this.
Hey, good morning, everybody.
Good morning to you too, everybody.
Quick disclaimer, we're still having technical difficulties and trying to get the Facebook feed where it needs to go. So tune in to magic95victoria.com.
The guy holding it says, well, it was a solid 5 days. Here's the 2022.
Yeah, posted that one yesterday.
What if 21 eclipses 20 in weirdness?
Yeah, it's starting off that way, isn't it? Let's do this first.
The Wade and Carter weather brought to you by our great friends at Deerland Feed. It's 46 degrees and clear in Victoria, heading to a high today of 64.
The winter of 2021.
We will rebuild.
We will. But I really want to encourage your calls today. I really want
What do you think?
others to share, and we can start the conversation because let's be honest. Those that did what they did in the Capitol, I condemn their behavior.
I do too. Just like we did the people that rioted in Baltimore, that looted in D.C. back in the summer. Remember when Washington, D.C. was on fire?
Play stupid games, you win stupid prizes.
Yeah, sorry
and
about
it's
the lady
sad
that
the lady lost her
shot
life.
in the neck.
Shot in the neck. It's
wasn't where she was supposed to be, apparently. The people's house.
That's pretty obvious. Well, I mean, yeah, whatever.
You know, though, people, and I'll throw this out there just to spur conversation. You can't have revolution. You can't have protest without discomfort. I mean, if you have a protest and nobody gets their feathers ruffled, did you really accomplish anything? And I'm not a protester. I'm a doer. Okay. I don't go down and whine about stuff that's not getting done. I do things. Big difference. But I absolutely would defend your right to gather and your right to protest peacefully, which, by the way, except for the gunshot to the neck and some trespassing, this whole deal yesterday seems to be much ado about not much. Except that Congress, they're coming into the Capitol, and all these little fairy congressmen were scared.
Well, you could argue that what they did was seditious in nature, and they could be charged with sedition because you interrupted the government doing what the government's supposed to be doing. And
I
that's
agree with
punishable
that.
by 20 years.
And put them in jail. I do agree with that.
But, and a couple of things, because until when the first stories were coming out, the people had stormed the Capitol, and you go to-
Stormed. The words were stormed,
Yeah.
under siege,
and then when you actually see
anarchy.
some video, and when they beat on a female officer at the first barricade to breach that first barricade, then yes,
I'd have
the
shot
game
him.
has changed at that point.
Yeah, I'd have shot.
They didn't. I don't know why.
Well, I think
Some
they
are saying it's
obstructed-
because they were all white people.
and because they're all park rangers at the Capitol.
But
Pretty much
when,
park
when,
rangers.
when I flipped it onto C-SPAN, and all I saw was people walking through the velvet ropes in the hall of the Capitol, I'm like, oh, it's hardly under siege. But then I see video last night when I was able to get home and actually dive into it a little bit.
You dove.
I
Or
did.
You dived.
And when they start walking up to the barricade, and you got people at the front of that trying to spur things on, and were those people Trump supporters? I don't know. We're the vast majority in Washington, D.C. Trump supporters, probably. But there was but when you physically assault an officer who's standing there showing no aggression, that to me changed whatever the outcome was going to be.
Yeah, you can't beat on the police. I mean, we're consistent in that message. The thing that's got me
You
is
can't be supporters and the party of the rule of law, and then even though the rule of law seems to have been circumvented and in a lot of ways in this election, that doesn't give you the right to then circumvent the rules of law just because you're pissed off.
right. And I thought the left, and in particular, President-elect Biden, was awfully quick to condemn and lump everybody into the nut job. Many have said that some of these folks were Antifa plants, that they were bussed in, and whether they were or not, the one or two bad apples at the front of the pack that started some problems immediately got lumped into being Trump supporters, immediately made it President Trump's fault that this happened. I've said that I didn't feel that Trump necessarily incited this, but I did feel that he personally probably reveled in it and that he didn't do anything to stop it.
No.
I think the president had a responsibility to say, this is not who we are. This is not how we're going to act. When he finally made a public statement, Ash, he said, I know you're upset about an election. It was stolen from us, but you've got to go home now. I thought that was an understatement. I think he should have said, we are the party that supports the rule of law. We are the party that supports law enforcement. We will not do these things in the name of getting our way.
Richard King says he thinks if the representatives would have done the right thing, they would have never have had that issue.
Yeah, BJ Nelson points out something else. Biden's speech was so canned. I was visiting with TLAT last night, and Dawn is one of those people where they say, still water runs deep. She'll go days without saying anything. You go, I've been thinking about this. And usually there's really serious wisdom there. And she said, she goes, Biden sure gave a concise, clear speech without a teleprompter, apparently, that almost seemed like it had been written for him or written much earlier. And I said, it did not seem like impromptu, like, oh, by the way, I've got a microphone here.
Well, it didn't have to. I mean, he had all day to prepare for it, didn't he?
I guess. But I mean, that was just her thought. And I kind of agreed. Why don't you give the rundown?
Adam Godfrey says he loves the attention and the limelight. I'm sure he's talking about President Trump. That's no surprise. But let's see who's in. First one in this morning, Lorena Bargerbrook. Good morning. Judge
morning.
Posey. H.R. Mallory checking in. Scott Snow, Amanda Smith King.
Real quick, by the way, the Industrial Education Foundation, their ball is still coming up, I believe, in February, and there are still tables available. If you want to participate, if you want to do something for a group of kids, that every dollar you give goes directly to. I mean, they've bought them. It's first thing comes to mind. Ukuleles at the elementary school for the kids to learn to play a stringed instrument. They've bought laptops, I believe, in the past that were at the time were able to be like checked out at the library and things. This money goes directly to the children because all of the service, all of the behind the scenes stuff is done by volunteers, of which Lorena is heading up the Maroon Ball this year, which in and of itself, the value is tremendous. You get a tremendous steak dinner. I think last year was done by, Mike Posey. You get a tremendous steak dinner, and it's an open bar, and there's an auction. It's a lot of fun. It's a chance to dress up and social distance with a nice group of people.
Amanda Smith King, good morning. Bobby Leister, Bob Watley. There's David Brogger checking in. Lisa
Hi,
Poole.
David.
There's Mike Bloschke.
Hi, Michael.
Leisterometer up to 692. We gained one.
That's probably Mike Bloschke probably went in there and subscribed to our YouTube channel. We
David
appreciate that.
Glass, Justin Glass, Brad Miner, C.W. Bean, Rena Scherer checking in. Madeline Mayer, Sheriff Lauterbach, Richard
morning, Sheriff.
Jankowski. Good morning.
We got sheriffs, we got troopers. Yep.
So
Wait,
there's
what
the
did-
Iceman.
I believe they're using, what is that right there? What does that say? I believe.
They're using a phone for that.
Now, does it sound better? Can somebody give me like a thumbs up, thumbs down on some sound here? Are you just hearing us through the microphone on the iPad, or are you hearing us in melodious stereo through the 95.9 FM radio board?
Chris Conrad, good morning. He says this may be the beginning of the end. I can't believe the propaganda coming from this whole fiasco. People already make this about race and other things. It's ridiculous. I agree completely. It began being politicized from the get-go. But
Funky.
storming the Capitol wasn't going to change anything, wasn't going to fix anything.
No, it was symbolic. And by the way, where was the gunfire? Where's the spray paint? What's it going to cost? And I'm not, vandalism is vandalism. Terror, to call these people terrorists. I saw men and women in matching Trump 2020, knit stocking caps. This was not, the
guy that grabbed that podium or that staff with the seal and took a picture seemed a little staged.
That deal's not, I wasn't encouraged at all to see so many Confederate flags. I thought that was terrible. Thought we'd kind of put that behind us. They're ascribing. I just don't buy it that Trump's a racist. His actions just don't show it. I just don't buy it. I don't think that as much scrutiny as the man gets, I don't think that he's a raging racist, anti-black person. I don't get it. And blacks in this country, folks, have just lost their way. I keep saying it over and over again. Being black in America only matters as much as you are an American. We're generations away from enslavement. Where's the legislation? Where's the legislation that's been designed to help the Mexican American, the Hispanic? Where's that legislation? Everybody keeps, all of our black friends, and I have many. Of course, my friends work. The people that are my friends in general, they work. I don't have a lot of deadbeat friends of any race. But you find yourself going, well, we need reparations. Well, we need a hand up, not a handout. Nobody's giving that to the Latinos, man. You know why? Because the Latinos go to work. And black America has been passed up in brown America.
Trying to ascribe today's values 200, 300 years ago.
Absolutely. It's just
is problematic.
Yes, sir.
Trey Molina checking in, Greg Garcia, Karen Webb, Clint Ives.
Put it this way. If you told me that over the next 20 years, I could cultivate a stereotypical vote, do I want to cultivate the brown vote or the black vote? Baby, give me that brown vote. Because when we go brown, there's a lot of us. A lot of us.
And that's a good point to get to my next point. The
why I'm
vote
here.
is the vote is what matters. We elect our Supreme Court in this state. They're not appointed. They were on the ballot. I'm not sure about other states, but if you got issues in the 6 states where this thing was contested and secretaries of state and attorneys general went and circumvented constitutional rules and it was upheld by your Supreme Court, well, you know what? The next time you have an opportunity to vote for that Supreme Court, they need to go.
Right. 100%.
Regardless of the revolution that led to the founding of this country, different times again, our founding fathers put a constitution in place and ways to fix the country without having to fight. That was the whole point of it. They knew how ugly that was.
They lived through the Revolutionary War.
You know, but if you're going to sit there in Pennsylvania and complain, and all you've done for 20 and 30 years is put the same people back in power, and I think that's the problem in this country. President Trump went there to drain the swamp. He didn't do it fast enough. He didn't do it quickly enough. He didn't bring people in. If there's one promise he failed to keep, it was that. He didn't start firing people that needed to be fired and moving people out that needed to be moved.
Right. Good morning, Janelle. Adam Daughtry says the woman who passed away was a U.S. Air Force veteran. I saw some pictures of her. That, of course, it got around social media really quickly. She sure didn't look like some kind of radical, crazy person. Now, don't get me wrong. Ash, as bluntly as we can be, said, you know, hey, play stupid games, win stupid prizes. If they tell you halt and you stick your head through there, what I'm saying is white, woman, veteran, no, they shot her. Don't act like Whitey was getting special privilege up there.
Lisa Poole, in my opinion, those that stormed the Capitol were Antifa. Something tells me it was done on purpose. It was done on purpose.
Yeah.
They went up there with purpose. They wanted to get in there.
Yeah.
That part I agree with you. It was done on purpose. I have yet to see anything that would tell me that Antifa was behind it. I've heard that there's some people that seem like, you know, that there are people that I'm friends with that were there.
Heard it from a friend who.
But
heard it from a friend who.
But the president was quick to bring the National Guard in the summer and declined to bring him in this time.
Heard it from a friend you were at the protest.
When's the last time 1 million people gathered in Washington and there was very little presence? 575-9509. I'm pissed off. I am. I'm saddened for this country.
Oh, I got it. One of our listeners sent me the deal. Peter McNally said Brent's comment on congressional ferries is out of line. Reception is good. So, Peter, just to clarify, my comment was, and by the way, I appreciate your sensitivity. You have become the everyman of the left for me. And I appreciate it. I mean, you're like the stereotypical leftist. What I meant by that, literally, was, did you see, Ash, some of the folks that happened to be in the building were like hiding under their desks and all this? There was no even hint that anybody was there to lynch or hurt or murder.
Well, you don't know that. We know that now. You don't know that in the moment.
Right. So I'm sorry if in my quest to be glib and provide an entertainment value, if I offended Peter McNally's sensitivities. I apologize.
The police that were outside let them get past the barricades. Not from the video I saw, Lisa. They physically pushed the barricades over. They beat up a female officer. There was no letting them pass. But I know the video you're referring to. What people don't realize is at the end of that video, if it wasn't cut off, because a lot of times these videos do get cut off to serve a narrative and a point.
Right.
You don't see the whole context. At the end of that video where those police pushed the barricades aside, it panned to the right. What you don't see by that point is those barricades had already been breached and all those people were starting to file in. So the police there, which I'm going to call center video because it's in the center of the video, just for frame of reference here, they did the smartest thing they could do. They weren't going to win that fight keeping a barricade 3 barricades wide when all the barricades on the right, at least, and I'm assuming probably the ones on the left at the same time, had already been breached. So it wasn't going to happen, but they didn't let them in. They did it for the safety of the officers and to avoid a mass crushing of people because the barricade was in place. I mean, that's
saw
just
a video that I thought was interesting. A gentleman, he didn't necessarily appear to be armed. He was a guard of some type. He was in a uniform. And he had one of those steel rods, you know, we joke about that.
yeah.
And it was on the floor. And like he ran back and picked it up and said, "Stop." But it was very ceremonial. And he ran up to the landing that between the first and second floor and said, "Stop." And then he just turned his back, but he didn't stand his ground, nor was he being overwhelmed. And he ran up to the next flight. And on the way up, he pushed his microphone, second floor. And I mean, you see him grab his shirt, second floor. And then he gets up there and you see him go, "Stop." And he's looking around and there's a guy filming this.
Well, the press are in there.
Craziness.
You know, I mean,
At the end of the day, total damage, 1 Air Force veteran through the neck. That's damage to me. American veteran shot at our nation's capital. The other thing was some barricades. A lady officer got punched, and there were a couple of windows broken out. I did not see DC on fire like I did in the summer. I did not see spray paint. As far as I know, none of the quote unquote Trump supporters have occupied DC or set up a Chaz or looted. No, there are no televisions missing, no storefronts damaged, no burning police cars. None of that occurred in this, and it's relative levels of immaturity and irresponsibility. But at least this, if you're going to say that anything that happened in the summer was a mostly peaceful protest, this was a mostly peaceful protest. Fair statement?
fair statement.
I mean, all of it was ill-advised and most of it was irresponsible. But if what happened in Baltimore was a mostly peaceful protest, and so was this.
Good morning, Wade and Carter.
Wade Carter.
Morning.
Brad
Miner, how are you?
Tell us how and why.
Yes, sir.
Amen. I agree. And a woman. I'll go with both of them. Amen and a woman on that one. Right. I'm with you. It was wrong. Right. Well,
Adam Sugar says our president or congressman are saying the election was stolen. It's not time for peace. Adam,
don't forget
just because somebody says something, I mean, again,
he's a military guy.
My smell test tells me there was probably some fraud. Was there enough to possibly change the outcome of the election? I don't know.
I'll give you a quick update. I called Michael Cloud yesterday. I got this text message last night at 10:30. He says, "I got your message. Thank you. Family is home and I am doing well here." Was definitely interesting for a while. Can you hear Michael Cloud? It was definitely interesting for a while.
So folks, Magic95victoria.com. to stream the video. Appreciate it, Brad. Thanks for the call.
Thanks, Brad.
Appreciate your perspective. Have a good one.
We
Bye.
love that guy. Real quick, I think we're going to have a caller maybe at the bottom of the hour. Let's tell you real quick, Allen's Wrecker Service. I listened to another program this morning. They still had Allen's down on Dudley, which they are not. They're now out just a little bit past the airport on North Highway 59. But they had in that particular bit, so they have over 35 pieces of equipment. I know one of them is a 75-ton crane. If you've got anything from a mini bike to a 18-wheeler full of whatever, they can ride it and get it to you. Allen's Wrecker Service, 578-6300, just the best of the best. The best of the best in communications, let's see who that is. In communications, in surveillance, in security. That's going to be the VCS companies, Rocket Oilfield Services, and the only locally owned and authorized AT&T retailer where we get all of our gear. Reach out to the Hartman Empire. And yes, Brad, we could hear you over the radio.
Phones are busy, so let's
take a call.
Good morning, Wade and Carter.
Who we got?
Nobody's there.
Oh, we lost our call. Hey, feel free to call back. 575-95. Chesnick Furniture, folks, 100 years in downtown Victoria, 116 West Juan Lynn, corner of Juan Lynn Bridge. Chesnick and Love make your house a home, and you just do better at Chesnick. Let's take this call. We're trying to cover all of our callers this morning.
Let's see if I can do this.
What do you think you got?
Good morning, Wade and Carter. Is that going to work,
Here.
maybe?
This one.
Wrong one.
Hello? Hola?
Maybe I got to do this because I'm on the phone now.
Hello?
Hello?
No.
Nothing there. Nobody's there. I don't know what's going on now.
Well, I don't know. We're expecting a call from Dwayne Stovall, which would be great. And then Veracruz. I went to Veracruz yesterday. I had my Compuestas bean on a crispy chalupa shell, right? Which the key there is crispy. You get them, they're soggy sometimes. That ain't cool. They put the refried beans. They put the ground beef. I put white cheese on it. And then I put lettuce, tomato, a dollop of guacamole, and some serrano peppers. And it's just phenomenal. Went by there yesterday for lunch.
Yeah. Magic95victoria.com if you want to hear the callers, because I have a feeling our phones are going to be busy.
Yeah, and our phones are kind of dying on us here.
We're having some issues here. I don't know what the problem is, but
Tila, you did not hear Brad Miner? Interesting. We apologize. If you didn't hear Brad Miner, he just said, hey, look, folks,
two wrongs don't make a right.
Two wrongs don't make a right. And the people that were up there, no matter if they were there in Trump's name, no matter if the election was stolen, no matter what, they were just wrong. It is interesting to me how if there is a legal protest playbook, and I'm not being sarcastic. I mean, do you just stand and say we're outraged? I mean, I'm being sincere. I don't know the rules.
I think the 99.99% of people that went to Washington, D.C. to make a statement did that.
I agree. There's always going to be that one bad apple, that one emotional guy that loses his gear, you know.
Okay, let's Good morning, Wade and Carter.
So Ash tried to answer with his headphones on.
I can.
Who you got?
Who's this? You can barely hear me? All right, hang on. Let me see if I can try and. Yeah, I don't know how this is going to work.
Who do we got? Is it Dwayne?
Hold on. I might have to try this. Hang on.
We love doing live radio. I mean, this is the best part of it, is when things don't go right, which is pretty much every day.
Good morning.
Hello? There you are. Hey. Can anybody out there hear this phone call? You can't hear us? There you are.
Okay, you're there. All right. Okay.
We know that voice.
Folks, if you want to listen to the calls, I urge you to either turn to 95.9 FM or magic95victoria.com because of the issues that we're having with the with our Facebook feed and not being able to run the board through to Facebook. So that's the problem we have right now, but there are two ways to work around it. You can keep the video up, but please go listen to Victoria 95, magic95victoria.com.
We've kind of had some issues around here lately Dwayne, we don't know exactly what's going on. Right?
Well,
Boy, hey, boy, just since we talked the other day, how about chaos in DC? The basic combination or the basic culmination of all of our listeners is two wrongs don't make a right. This stuff going on in DC is lunacy. And yet I did point out that at the end of the day, there was a protester shot, a barricade broken, one female police officer punched around a little bit, and a couple broken windows. So, relatively speaking, it was a peaceful protest, but in reality, it was still ill-advised and not ideal. Good point. Yeah, did you see the guy in the buckskin outfit with all the tattoos and had the horns on his hat? And I'm like, that guy's not a Trump supporter. Craziness. Well,
no, but I've seen interviews with that guy, and he is very much a QAnon follower, so that might explain the outfit.
Tell us so that we can pass along to our listeners exactly, because they're saying they can't hear us. So, folks, magic95victoria.com, YouTube, on your cell phone, you can go to YouTube, or you can go to Magic 95.9 on the radio. They like to look at us, Dwayne, and the reality is we need them to hear us more than look at us. But tell us what's going on. Tell me, for those that haven't watched the video, tell us about the Texian party and now relative more than ever.
Yeah, no, I agree. And Chris Conrad says you had him at explicitly Texans. So not quite hello, but pretty close.
And what folks are saying is, for those of you that can't hear Dwayne Stovall, he's saying that the two-party system has led us down a rabbit trail that there's really no coming back. And the problem is neither party represents a large portion of especially Texas. And you find these people, we talked yesterday, Dwayne, about folks that hated Trump so much that even though they are maybe pro-Second Amendment and pro-life, they voted for Biden just because they hated Trump so much. And then you've got people,
but I find the numbers. I find that hard to believe. If you, I mean, I've crunched these numbers a little bit through in my head. And the way it plays out based on what he gained and the votes that Biden, I mean, you would have had to have a net gain for Trump of 18 million voters to get those that defected from the party. I just find it hard to believe that number of people hated Trump so much that they voted for Biden.
And that number of people actually voted, period.
Yeah, true.
Right, I agree. Yes.
So let me ask a question you've probably gotten. So is the ultimate goal for the Texian party for Texas to secede? Okay.
Could Texas secede? Didn't we kind of give that up a while back?
No.
I'd love it.
About the only one that I can think of in modern history that did this, and it took the fall of the Soviet Union to allow them to do it, but was the peaceful split up of what is now the Czech Republic and Slovakia, formerly Czechoslovakia. Yeah. Yeah.
Right. We just had a listener, Katie K, says, "Hey, please repeat the party name and how to do our part." The party is the Texian Party, Texian. It is for, and you can go to thetexianparty.com. And what I liked when I went to the website, when I watched the video, when I read the literature, is the inclusion of the party. I love the idea that it said This is a party for Texians, Tejanos, and Texans. And I don't even know. I mean, I guess I'm probably not a Tejano. I try. I think I'm the brownest white guy I know. But I mean, I don't know if I'm a Texian or a Texan, but I like the idea that there's a place for you in this party. And by the way, people can get in and kind of help shape the ground floor of where the party goes. I think a third party could be great for us. I think the fringe, the lunatic fringe in both of the major parties has warped our nation, and the concessions that are made by the left to accommodate the extreme lunacy, the Green New Deal and all the LBGQT garbage, all that stuff, to accommodate all those fools, all of a sudden has watered down that, Bill Clinton wasn't so bad on the economy just 30 years ago. But now, comparatively, he was a Republican. Although the Republicans never get any serious sex in the White House. I wonder if we decided to secede someday, and I do agree with you that we can change everything at the ballot box, in theory. But I wonder if Texas decided to secede. I don't think that the federal government would let us go without a fight, no pun intended. And I just don't know what would happen.
Yeah, you've got a point.
Yeah. Right. Well, I remember you talking to a small group of us downtown about your motives for running for the Senate and your perspective on history, and just the idea that really the states now function more like counties and the federal government is more like the state. And that makes sense to me. Yeah, I agree with that 100%. States' rights are out the window. You don't have the ability to, although they keep trying to shove it back down at election time. Oh, each state has their own way of doing it. I did find it interesting though, Dwayne, that it seems absolutely constitutional that Texas sued some of the other states over the way they handled their elections, and the Supreme Court decided not to mess with it. I thought that was interesting. I thought it was absolutely constitutional to do so.
True enough.
So what do? They quit giving us federal funding for highways and stuff, and we have to set up probably our own state income tax, but it wouldn't have to be huge. And then well, they'd freak out. We had a listener. Go ahead. Well, we had a listener just ask, do you expect or see people from, she called it the machine, coming to our new party? Or do you think that there's going to, if we can get the word out, we'll be a totally new party? Right. Right. We had Brad Miner, a good listener, just said, he said, hey, do you feel like when you do this, do you end up splitting the conservative vote, which would basically guarantee we'd never have another conservative in the White House? And if I understood you correctly, right. I like it.
Cool.
I like it. So we will help promote the website, and we're all about free thinking over here. We're going to get folks to go at least give it a look. Think about it, folks. If you're disgusted with the way things are in Washington, or even at the local level, you probably owe it to your future to at least go check this out. So it's thetexianparty.com. Sounds
Awesome.
good. We like anything with a party here. Amen. I tell you what, yes, you're absolutely right. Just from a work ethic and from if nothing else, like you said, culturally, the things that we enjoy. That's exactly right. Amen.
Haven't had my clam chowder.
Well, hey, we're gonna have to
Appreciate it, Dwayne. Thank you very
Dwayne,
much.
Do stay in touch and let's reconnect again offline and let us know how we can help. And I'll start thinking about that logo. Okay, brother. Hey, man, thanks for all you do and for your commitment to our great state. And you know that you have a fan base here in the Victoria County area. So thanks so much.
Appreciate the call, Dwayne. Thank you.
Take care, brother. So that's Dwayne Stovall. He's one of the founding members, one of the group that is into the TexianParty.com. It seems the word that comes to mind, idealistic, but at the same time, wasn't a republic idealistic at one point? Wasn't freedom, wasn't it ludicrous back in the day to say we won't take taxation without representation? We want a trial by a jury of our peers. We don't want to go before some court of the government. The cojones, if you will, of the founding fathers, risking certain death, absolutely stating in their mission that they were treasonous. These folks, they answered a call, and they did what they had to do. So let's see if we have another caller.
We do have another caller. Good morning, Wade and Carter. James,
Hello,
how are you?
James Kurth. We're good. We're good.
Good.
Well, I think we owe it. You can see on the comments section on Facebook, whether you're listening on Magic 95.9 FM or magic95victoria.com or on YouTube, if you go to the, what did Brad Minor say? If you go to the comments, you can see a link for the Texian Party, but it's the Texian, Texian, TexianParty.com. And Texian being obviously a reference back to when they were first called anything. You know, I mean, like Christian Texian, that's where it came from. So it goes back to them.
You just made that up.
No, I'm just saying that's where it came from. They called them the Texians back during the war, Texas Revolution. Yeah. Brother Gary Moses in there. So look,
appreciate it, James.
Thanks, brother. Yes, Katie K says Stovall was very encouraging to us, and he is very encouraging. Real quick, we're going to get the brother man in here, and folks, hats off to these listeners. You know that, I mean, these sponsors. You know the way we feel about them, and you know what they do for us every day. The Adson Offer dealership, AdsonOffer.com. Go check them out. White Trash Services, BJ Nelson and her crew can all be reached at 550-1826. That's 550-1826. Razor IT Solutions, JP Hull. His team can help you with your analytics, help you collect money, help you monetize your website. Ash, we're going to visit with JP soon. We're going to visit with the folks at Thrive that have helped us, and we're going to visit with JP. Uncle Mutt's Barbecue has a daily special today. Don't go before 11. They're 11-ish.
11-ish?
Yeah, they'll open up around 11. If you have a party coming up, reach out to Cheryl at the Gray Barn, 920-6803. Cheryl will help make it memorable, help you have a good time at your own party. And then Wint Services. Whether you need solar panels, generators, general electric work, they're a contractor, electrical contractor. Reach out to Wint Services and let them come out and help you with your next project. You're building a barn dominium, I want an extra plug here. They can drop it, conduit, everything's up to code. It's good to know a professional in that business, and Wint is best of the best. USA Concrete Coatings, 578-HOME. Have Charlie Garcia come out, clean up, seal up, level up, and cover up. They'll put down a polyurethane coating stronger than epoxy. And you'll love it. Love it. Hey,
Yeah,
Don Parker says, reality day. We are in for a tough ride for a few years or more. Be smart and act accordingly.
Very much so, sir.
I agree 100%, DP, and I think it's a good time for those of us that are conservative, no matter whether you call yourself a Republican or a Democrat, to respect the rule of law, to realize that we are a nation of laws and a nation of rules. And, you don't, one, not more than my Democrat friends, my friends that are Democrats, they're not anarchists. They're not people that are out causing problems. There's a very few bad apples that get a whole lot of press time.
And end up painting everybody with a whitewashed brush.
Yes.
That
Whitewash, they can be racist. It's just with a brush, a broad stroke.
Broad stroke.
Right. We're going to try to get a friend in tomorrow, maybe from Canada. I'd like to get the Canadian perspective on what's going on down here. And no, Brother Man, no. See, Brother Man's in the going, oh, you don't have time for me. But here's the deal. Brother Man is consistent for 4 years now. In his 5th year with us, the Brother Man's been bringing content. We're dropping the hammer on him. I mean, he's got to have something. He's got 2 folded pages here. He used to write so small, people. He could write like a speech on the back of a postage stamp, but now
So it was back then.
the eyes are failing. It's just, you know.
Well, first off, just want to say our prayers with our country. We
Amen,
wish
sir.
the very best. And you could go on and on about this and that. It's just like Brad said. But a lot of your callers would.
We've tried to be objective with it. I mean, Ash and I both condemn the illegal activity going on in Washington. There's no way that you can't do something illegal in the name of your political beliefs and feel good about it. And I don't like being associated with it. Oh, Carter's conservative, therefore he's like those people. I would not be up there climbing on scaffolding and sticking my head through the windows.
I know you said,
Yeah.
and I know me. We're all praying for our country.
Amen.
That's where we live right there.
Yes, sir. What do you have for us
Well, let
in
me
the
give you
wide,
one
wide world of
I
sports?
got a couple of quick ones. I'll make them real quick. Well, we got one of them I want to mention. Operation Firefighter garage sale tomorrow and Saturday. It's at the old two-step right across from Walmart, Hudson Highway.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
The old captain's table
The
back
old
in the day.
captain's You go back with
Back
me.
in the day.
You're going back with me.
Yes, sir.
The old captain's table. The bunch is raising funds for, of course, firefighter families, to buy toys and food for them.
But by the way, is that not? And then Captain's Table used to be back down the street the other way.
Oh, yeah.
But isn't that a great name for a club?
Captain's table.
The Captain's Table.
You remember it used to be a restaurant right there. The old captain's table was a restaurant.
Right.
Then we moved down.
Yeah.
Did it over there.
And then
And we were there.
absolutely.
We were there.
Absolutely. That's just phenomenal.
Run a couple of events out of there after the captain's table,
Yes.
before it became, I don't even know what it was called for a while. Then it was another Cowgirls or
Pink
something.
Cadillac for a while. You remember that?
No, I don't remember
Brother
that one.
Gary's going back to the day. He's
Yeah,
like,
going back. Well, that's right after the captain's
For a
table.
teetotaler, he sure knows all the names of the
those
clubs.
girls from Bloomington used to come in by the busload.
I think Thursday nights were full, right?
Unbelievable.
Thursdays and Saturdays. Well,
What do you have,
I
great
got
sir?
that 75 both days over there. Michael Jordan, and this is good. Take your mind off a little of the other stuff. The Groove number 23. That's his new golf course in South Florida. Call it the Groove number 23. What was his number? In the
23.
Chicago Bulls, right? And the great thing is a beautiful course. Less than 100. Well, hey, I like him. Less than 100 members. You can get invited only. And listen to this. One thing that caught my eyes, and you'll love this. When you order from the clubhouse, they bring it to you on the golf course by drones, delivering by drones. They showed it. And the drone brings the package to you, the drinks and everything, the food, by drones. Michael Jordan.
I'll probably catch like a propeller in the eye.
Yeah, I don't know what's so wrong with having, the cart girl bring it to you with an electric cart. I just,
Well, maybe the drone has big boobs or something. You don't know.
Order by drone. I thought that, man. I thought that was
Right.
right.
Order by, let's give me a caller for you, Brother Jim. We got to see who this is. Hello, caller. Oh, hey, are you trying to call in and talk to the Hall of Famer Ralph Salazar? Give us 2 minutes and you can have him. Hang on. You call right back, okay?
Yeah, we're just about.
We're getting him in here. Yes, sir.
I'm telling
You got to love it when they call the station and say, who's this? Oh, I'm sorry.
they know.
Yeah, who's this?
And Sam Ellinger, let me go. I'll leave that real quick.
Yes,
You
sir.
know what? They rated him the top quarterbacks in the country for the draft. What number do you think?
Oh, it's top quarterbacks. We'll see.
Well, yeah.
I mean, so
Well,
he
this is
can't.
an NFL draft.
He can't be third. I got him like 6,
10.
10.
10.
Well, he hit it right on the.
That's fair.
They put him 10th rated best quarterback for the draft.
But if you're the 10th rated best quarterback, and there's only 32 teams, they're
And
in a
not
spot
everybody
for you.
needs a quarterback. You're likely not getting drafted until the 4th or 5th round
Yeah,
if you're drafted at all.
Yeah. Last thing, Dak Prescott, the deadline to franchise him again is March 9th. They don't know what to do with him right now, and they have to sign a deal with him by July. And if he comes as a franchise quarterback, $37.5 million.
Yeah, and here's the deal. This year, so first of all, and I remember Jerry Jones saying, "Hey, don't call me tight. Don't call me unfair. We offered the kid $100 million. Just because I didn't offer him 101 doesn't make me a bad guy." Now, last year, in theory, Dak kind of got messed over because he could have made 50 million instead of 31 or whatever. But this year, if Jerry Jones signs Dak for $37 million, which I believe he will, if he franchises him and signs him sight unseen, not knowing what he's going to get, I think, Jerry, they call that a wash. I might have taken from you last year, but I'm sure giving to you this year because Dak ain't going to make $37 million talking about Tempur-Pedic mattress.
Here's my question, though. Is this team any better with Dak Prescott than they are now?
No. Unless Dak can play corner, they're not any better.
Is the way this team is structured, is Dak a guy that flips that record and takes the Cowboys to 10-6 or next year 11-6 because it's a 17-game season?
No.
I don't think so. You could probably re-sign Andy Dalton for a quarter of that $37 million, and then you can then go get the depth you need on your offensive line and shore up your defense.
I agree 100%.
All right. Well, I just want to throw in. We'll get the games.
So are we okay? We're going to pick the games next week. No.
We got some games today, right? We got some games this weekend.
Do we?
Real quick.
Yeah, all the wild cards. Wild card weekend.
All right. Colts and Bills.
Bills.
Rams and Seahawks. These are Saturday games. Rams, Seahawks.
Seahawks.
Bucks and Washington.
Bucks.
Yeah, Bucks for sure.
Sunday, Ravens and Titans.
Ravens.
Ravens.
You think playoff experience comes in right there? Yeah, the Ravens are hot.
They're hot. They won 4 in a row. Bears and Saints.
Saints.
Browns and Steelers. All right.
Steelers.
For me. And then Alabama and
Ohio State.
You just said Alabama and
we know which way he's leaning.
First loser week, Bobby. Alabama's going to trounce them. Yeah. Not to mention, the worst thing to be in sports this coming weekend? That quarterback's ribs from Ohio State. Bless his heart. That kid played his guts out.
He had a game of his life.
They'll come after him. They'll come after him.
What you said, 4 out of 5 Clemson would be.
Oh, I think so. Well, hey, folks, hang tight. And if you're a caller, just give us a minute to make the transition here. As the Hall of Famer, Ralph Salazar, he'll get his walker and he'll get in here in a minute. Him and Brother Gary play all your old favorites. Ralph knew most of these songs when they first came out, and they are still hits today. So, and the Brother Man will be in here with them, and they're a joy to listen to because when you guys reminisce and talk about, of course, you guys go way back together. But then when you go back, way back with the experiences you had,
there's no telling where the conversation will go.
It's great. And people love it.
People do love it. Yes, sir.
All right.
We're going to get out here and go.
We'll see y'all mañana.
Thanks to our sponsors.
Bye, folks.
Bye-bye. No. We come on. People count on it. We gotta have
I've got people that say they like that.
Oh yeah, people love that.
That's the girl we had yesterday. She was 21 years old.
Isn't that something?
I hate to say it though, today's Hollywood. There's no way.
No, well, you know what that was? Even then, though, I thought, there's still a chance. It's just an
average was gonna wear that girl, that's what the average. You never act out, the only time you don't have a part. It's like guessing, what you call it, guessing, that's right. Right, exactly. So what's she doing now? She's definitely not from that high school stuff. We got her 9 years ago, and she was helping, set up cars to get, oh, really? No, you know, where, we're going out to the reservoir. Yeah. And let's talk down the corner, all the way down. There you go. Brother Jimmy out there, front row. None of this work. Brother G's got some stories, you know. Got stories, man. He knows him, New Jersey, anyway, I'll make sure I get it. What did I tell him we got started? Hey, Ralph. Is there another line out that we could try? Because I'm can't get to work and I don't know what the problem is. That headphone line out works. Yeah, I know, but I can't get into our iPad or by phone. And I've got two diaries, and they both work over there. There's a testimony against it. I was able to run the mic through them.
How about, you know, we have that little radio, if you run from the headphone up from that radio out.
Well, that's an easy one to test. If you have a line out at home,
Yeah.
plug it into a radio, put it into Facebook, and do live video, and you can hear it. That's the thing. You got to change it to hear it. It looks good. It sounds like we'll end up looking like gathering the dub movies.